This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so are you going to be my timer?
Yeah.
Okay, 6:04. So calling the meeting to order calling the work session meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Okay, item number one, correction statement. So last time that we met, somebody came in to discuss gas-powered leaf blowers. I don't know if you guys remember, and I referenced it as gas motors. So I didn't reference it properly when I described it. So I am retracting gas motors from the last meeting and specifying that it was what I meant to say was gas-powered leaf blowers when we were summarizing the residents' comments. Retracted and corrected. All right. Um, You know what? I'm going to go to the info session when Darlene gets here. So we're going to skip item number 2 for now. We'll circle back to that. So zoning board of appeals alternate. Ray is no longer the zoning board of appeals alternate. So I need to nominate another individual. And I have nominated Chris Sokol. How do you pronounce it? Sokol? Okay, yeah. So Chris is going to be the new ZBA alternate being sworn in tonight, probably. Okay, so welcome, Chris, to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Enjoy your position as alternate. Okay, we've got a number of resident requests. First resident request we have is 27 Walnut. Oh, did I do the wrong one?
No, 24.
Oh, 24 is, yes, 24 is a separate one. So let's go to that one first. Where is it? I did them backwards. Yeah, you got me. And where is my request? I should have it somewhere. Let's see. I thought I had it. Yeah, I'll take that. Is that mine? Okay. So, dear board members, we've recently completed construction and we're given our certificate of occupancy for a property at 24 Walnut Avenue. We have identified dead trees on village property directly adjacent to our property on the northwest side, also abutting the Jefferson Street pathway. We are concerned that these trees could damage our property or cause injury. We have tagged the trees of concern as well as invasive vines that are impacting other trees. We have included a report from the certified arborist indicating the health status of the trees in question. We are asking you to grant us permission to remove these trees. If granted, the removal will be at our expense. So I actually had photos. I could pull them up on my phone if I don't have them here. I thought I had them.
This one's
Yeah, they're pretty
they have
visibly. I mean,
blue
it's
tag
like
on it,
it's just good that they got us a picture. Oh, here I got it. It's right here. So these are the trees. I'll pass this around. You can, if you didn't see them when I sent out the memo.
This one has a photo with the blue.
Yeah, they're tagged and they're. I mean, they have the letter. I mean, I circulated the letter from the arborist. They're dead. Kind of unsightly, and I mean, I don't have any problem, especially since they want to remove them. It'll open up that little pathway and it'll look better, so I'm okay with it if everyone else is. I think you good?
Yeah.
Okay, so permission granted on this one. Put that aside. All right, next one. Okay, so the backfill and planting proposal. So that is, to whom this may concern, please find the attached survey with markings for the grading and planting plan request. Grading plan, bring grade up to street level from the driveway of 103 Chestnut to the corner of Walnut Avenue and Chestnut Avenue. This area is highlighted in orange. I didn't print it in color, so it's shaded, yeah. Planting plan. Plant 5-foot tall green giant trees approximately 6 to 8 feet apart along the road from driveway of 103 Chestnut to the corner of Walnut Avenue and Chestnut Avenue. These plantings are marked with an X on the survey. The number of trees is to be determined by the landscaper. So, as far as backfilling it, I took a walk down there and I looked at it. As far as backfilling it, I don't think that causes any issues for the village. It's just gonna be this weird dip without it. So just looking to level it up. So I have no problem with that. As far as the plant 5-foot tall giant trees, yeah, I don't know that I want to do giant trees
You
because
already have the issue on the opposite side of the street with the blind spot, with those trees on the corner. They want to do it coming down, but not obstructing the view coming from the beach.
yep.
I'm fine with that.
I have no problem with the grading. I think my feeling is we should possibly, I don't know about the the tall giant trees. They could get huge and it might wind up, yeah, something a little bit lower or not as ginormous. I think I would be okay with. Jared?
So, I mean, my only question about the backfill
Yeah.
is if we bring that elevation up, is then everything coming off of there then gonna run off onto, because right now it kind of acts as like a natural kind of like catch-all from coming down there. Is it now gonna run off onto Chestnut? Are you gonna get runoff debris? Yeah, coming down. I mean, we already kind of have an issue with sediment and whatnot on that coming down the street there to the beach. If we fill that,
Well, there's two things to consider because if we fill it and it's planted, the planting will absorb some of that runoff.
Yeah.
But I think, to that point, we can make it contingent on that if it turns into a issue with runoff with stormwater, they may have to revise it.
But like a wall or something, like
I don't know.
curving, I don't know.
Well, I think if there's a runoff issue, it's going to be a runoff issue, and if they put a wall, it's just going to make it worse, right?
It's just gonna push it right back onto their property, which I think is kind
Better.
of what they're trying to avoid right now, because you're gonna have basically a catch at the bottom, right? So that area there, some of it's been excavated already for the entrance to the property and the driveway, but you're gonna, if you raise that elevation, I'm just not sure how that then affects. It's already a little bit of a tricky corner there, and with the pitch of the road, and it gets a little slick. So I just want to make sure that
Elevation
it's not turned into
question. Okay, so elevation. We're going to do tree size ? Stormwater ? Backfill probable and get more. I mean, do you think that the backfill without? Hey, Darlene, watch the cord. Do you think that the backfill is going to have that impact? The full backfill?
I think to your point, it depends on the foliage. I mean, how long it takes the foliage to take and it becomes a natural filtration system, then I think it could be okay. But if you just go in and backfill it and raise the elevation to street level, then instead of stuff running into that, thought would be it would then run off of it and push stuff down.
Well, maybe we can end that backfill
below grade, below road
slightly
level.
below road level, like if they can backfill it and.
So it still has a natural depression that it
but
has.
It's not the hole. It's not a big hole.
Yeah, so I think kind of fill but follow the natural grading and fill it without having an unnatural elevation change.
Okay, so maybe we need to give this back to them and get. I mean,
I mean, do we talk to building? Just, I mean,
Talk to building and see what
just see what their thought on the grading is, because I know,
and we can
you know,
have,
they've looked
we can
at,
have Rich
obviously-
Parrish look at it too for stormwater.
yeah, I mean, obviously they've looked at it for the purposes of the property, but they didn't really look at it as far as village property is concerned. So if somebody can just put another set of eyes on it, I think we'd probably
All
feel
right,
better about it.
so tree size, we're thinking, Darlene, just to catch you up, we got a request on 27 Walnut to do some backfilling, and they had proposed to put some giant trees. And we kind of consensus that we didn't know if we wanted to go with giant trees.
But it says 5 feet. I don't understand.
5 feet, but they're saying, no, they're 5 foot tall green giant trees. Does that mean that that's the size that they're going to plant and then they'll grow further
Oh.
from there?
I'm
That's the
thinking
question.
If it's anything like the opposite side of the street, though, why there's no visibility to see through to see cars coming
Right.
from Washington and down Walnut.
All right, so why don't we present these concerns back to the resident and see how they can address it, and maybe pass this on to Rich to look at for stormwater purposes. And I don't think we need to say no. I think we
No.
need a little bit
More
more information. So
Yeah.
we'll,
It is an issue, the stormwater.
okay,
In
so
that
we'll-
corner, yeah.
Yeah.
We
Going
will-
off to the beach.
That's a tricky corner.
Excuse me,
We
I
will-
never like to interrupt in this part of the session, but will a dry well work?
well, a dry well could work, but a dry well would require village to install, and I don't know that if right now it's doing the job of a dry well, I don't know that the village spending, $10,000 to put in a dry
No, the
well,
village wouldn't have to pay for it. It'd be the owner's thing.
that they could put, well, that's also an option. We could, if there is a stormwater, we could propose that they could, if they wanted to pay for a dry well to catch it, that's another option to consider. We could talk about that, or we could do it as a condition that if what they do has impact on stormwater, then the dry well would be required.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea, Ron.
Thanks,
All
Rob.
right, so let's circle back to them with this one with some more questions and get some more details and take a better look. Maybe we'll take a walk over there. And I actually just drove by and looked at it, but maybe now that they gave us the plan, we can actually take a walk, get their
Yeah, I'd
permit.
like to do that.
Yeah, so let's ask them for permission to walk the
Yeah,
property,
let's do that.
and let's look at it. We'll take a walk in the
Do it
next
this
month.
week or
Yeah,
next-
whatever, before the next meeting, and we'll.
Maybe after the next rain,
That's true. But
after the next one that rains.
Yeah.
You know, I could go over there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that and take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay, what else? Oh, my lists are all, okay. Boy Scout request. So we have a request. I don't know if I have the actual, but our scout's here.
Oh,
So, yeah, you did. So we've got a copy of,
everything.
yeah, of everything. And really, you're trying to replicate something similar to what we have at California, at Walnut, which would be a life jacket station. I mean, I personally love the idea. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be great to have a similar thing. The one that we had at California has been a super big benefit, and the village matched the last Scout's donation with a sign thanking your troop. I think it says the troop that did it. So as long as the board is in agreement, I would do the same at California, at the Walnut location. So you build it, and we will put up a sign. And use and utilize it.
Great.
Is there a, not to be too specific, but is there an idea of where we want to place it or where it's going to be placed?
You're allowed to talk, by the way, because you're part of the discussion right now.
Actually, I've got like 2 beaches that I'm gonna do it at want to do it at, and I've got maps and X's for each.
Which beaches?
Van Brunt and.
You're gonna do two of them?
Yeah.
Wow,
So Walnut and Van.
that's pretty ambitious. You're doubling down.
So.
That's why he's the Eagle Scout.
Yeah.
The Van Brunt one, the X is really dull. I thought the orange marker would be brighter. I only have
That's good.
one copy of each.
Sure.
That's
fine.
okay.
And then at Walnut, it would be over here.
Let me see the walnut one.
Yeah, it's
But,
kind of
yeah,
hard to see. Is that,
completely open
is it to the,
suggestions.
is the one-on one like when you're coming in, is it to
On the
the,
right.
on the right? If you're
At
facing the water, would it be to
It
the
would be on,
right?
it's on the left.
At Walnut? Or
Yeah,
at,
Walnut, I'm
That's
sorry.
walnut,
Yeah.
it would be on the left.
Probably on the left, yeah.
So close to where the,
Yeah,
like
by
the
the
shower station or,
Yes, by there.
okay.
That's
Because
where it is.
at California, it
Yeah.
kind of had it closer to there at the entrance than it did to directly next to the canoes and kayaks. So I was thinking like same idea. But
You think
I'm
it's too
open to
crowded over there?
Just.
On the other side?
Well, just also because I know it's further in with, previewing the commissioner's report, there was a request to, I think, update the shower station as well, right? I just don't want them to put something in and like,
Well, we have to,
and have to move it.
there's a couple of considerations there too, as far as the tide.
Yeah.
So, you saw the flooding
Not in the parking lot, but closer to. the
closer
parking
into the
lot.
parking lot, I think.
That way there's space.
And then it'll have some stability, because the ground, you can't, at California, they were able to build it on
Right.
a little bit more solid ground. It's sand down there. So I think,
So how about we give them the okay and we'll just take a look at the
yeah,
location.
I
if
think,
that's
I
okay
think,
with you.
I think you are approved, but let us, when we're walking around, looking at everything else in the village, we'll kind of come back to you with ideal locations.
Awesome. Thank you.
Let me see
Thank
Van
you.
Brunt.
Thank you.
What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Jacob Silvers.
Jason, right, okay, Jason. Yeah, that's awesome. Pocot is lucky to have scouts. Okay, and that's Van Brunt. Van Brunt's another one that we would have to kind of, well,
Yes,
wait,
that's
the
okay.
beach is here.
Mhm.
So are you proposing to do it at a different, the beach is like a very tiny beach?
Yeah, I was kind of wanting to get it as close to the kayaks and canoes for Van Brunt, but I think I may have put it in the wrong place.
Yeah, I think your X that's here would really be here. I think. I don't know. I think that once you turn that curve, I think this is actually the beach. So this X would probably be more over here. And we'll look
Down
at,
Van Brunt more, okay?
well, here's White Pine, right?
Okay, right. That's
So you come here, and then there's the little entryways around it's like right over here. He's got it here, which is like down off of Tinker. It's off of these properties. So I think the
Move it
ideal spot, well, I think it's hard to see from an overhead view, but I'm thinking that this, where he meant to put it, would be here,
Yeah.
because that's, I think, where the kayaks are.
Yeah.
But we'll go down and we'll take a look. So you are approved, and we will match your work with signage to thank your troop. But we're just we'll circle back with exact locations. We'll have somebody, we'll look at it, especially with the tide at Walnut. That's the bigger concern.
Yeah, I can meet you guys down there.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Great.
Okay, and then if you had other things that you wanted to propose, we'll circle back in the rest of the session. All right,
Thank you.
next one, we got some good stuff. So here's another one. Hi, Joe. No worries. Hello, no, this is not it. Is that it? Nope. I had it all nicely organized. Yes.
It's in here.
Yeah, I have my own copy and it's a disaster. My name is Luciana Hayes, and I am an 8th grader at Jelinas and a resident in Pocot. Recently, I received a grant from Mary Beth Chikara at Stony Brook Medicine to pursue a project preventing melanoma and other types of skin cancer caused by sun damage through sunscreen stations at beaches, parks, etc. I am reaching out to you in the village of Pocot because I am interested in organizing one of the sunscreen stations at California Beach or Walnut Beach during the summer due to the amount of activity, mainly by youths forgetting sunscreen. Please let me know if this is something the village would be interested in and how to proceed. If you have any questions regarding the project, feel free to reach out. So I did reach out because I wanted to see a little bit more about what this looks like. I found my sheet. And she sent me this link and pass it around.
I love this one. You know what I was thinking? I like this better.
Oh, it's like a hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
It's
I was
great.
thinking it was
I
gonna be
thought it
like
was gonna be
bottles.
bottles of.
Yeah, no, that's great, right?
I love this.
Yeah.
I have my neck on my face because it's skin cancer.
Yeah.
Who's
So
gonna stock it? Is that her project or is that, or
I
it's
think-
like the village?
I think the village could pick up the stocking on that, right?
They'll supply the dispenser and.
We'll
I think this
supply,
is a
we'll
great
supply the
idea.
sunscreen.
I
We'll
love
put it
it.
on Dave's list
I love
of
it.
refills to do when he's doing other items in the village. And the only question I have is, does it need to come down? And I didn't ask her, but we can circle
need to
back.
come-
Does it need to come down in the winter? Is it something that, because it looks like it's plastic. So I'm just wondering, is that something that would freeze and crack? And if that's the case, we would probably have to, incur the fee of having Dave move it to a warmer place, maybe put it in Village Hall. But I'll find out from her as long as we're all on board.
What's it, where we're gonna put it?
She said California or Walnut. I mean, honestly, I think either one. I know that a lot of people go to Walnut for
Sunday.
beaching, but
More activity.
there's a lot of activity at
Boating, water.
California, and I think either one. I'm open to whichever. I think we're gonna have to look at the life jacket, see what we're doing, look at our commissioner's report and his requests, and kind of tie everything together. So I'm
Yeah, I'm just wondering where you attach it to, because it's like on a stand like this, it'll blow over.
let me see.
It'd be like-
So it has to be,
It has to be
affixed to something.
like,
Maybe
yeah,
the life
like on
jacket.
like a-
You put it on the life jacket.
or fastened something
It has
to
to be
the
fastened
side.
somewhere.
Yeah, I think we can kind of figure that out and get Dave involved in doing something a little bit more permanent. Maybe he could just, it might have anchors, this thing. Because I would think that even just like this, it could blow over. Maybe, they have like
That's what I was.
the
thinking,
anchor
fasten it
bolts at the
somewhere.
bottom that they can anchor it in to the ground. I don't know. So let me put that down. We're gonna say location, winterization, and stability. We'll circle back and get some more information on that. But in general, I think it's a great idea and I welcome it. So everyone good on that too? Okay, yay.
Any more kids that want to do projects
Right,
in the
that's
building?
all I'm waiting for Theo to get his snowplow ready.
He's ready to go. Got the four-wheeler going.
All right, so while we're on requests, let's just finish the planning board. We've got 2 planning board requests and then we'll circle back to the info session. This is from Rob Cronin, the chairman of the planning board. I'm making a formal request and recommendation on behalf of the planning board. We have discussed and are asking the board of trustees to review our request at your next scheduled meeting. Please review our request for 9 Chestnut to have an outside contractor hired for the dock application. It is of the opinion of the planning board that the current application using the village contractor could be a conflict of interest. Please advise the planning board of your recommendation so we can further discuss the dock application at our next scheduled meeting. Thank you for your time. So they're accurate. It is a conflict of interest that we have. Our village engineer has also been hired to engineer this. So I think we definitely need a second engineer to review it. And they're going to have to get us quotes, right? The planning board, if we approve this?
Yes.
Do they have to put it out to bid? No? Okay, so they just need to, how many quotes should they get us from outside engineers? 2?
Well, right, I don't think it's exactly covered in the procurement policy, but I think my recommendation would be at least bid.
Okay, so two
I think
quotes.
there's probably, it could have been worded instead of contractor, either consultant or an engineer.
An engineer,
but
right.
it's what
It
doesn't-
needs to be an engineer to assess the
Just
application.
to clarify.
hmm So we will go back to the planning board and tell them that they're approved to get us two quotes, and we will allow that. Yeah? Okay. All right. And then another planning board memo affirming master plan. Do you have that?
Yeah, I see.
Okay, I'm operating rogue over here, so. Yeah, I'm sure there is. Okay. Memo for the Board of Trustees. As the Planning Board Chairman, I wanted to let the Board of Trustees for the Village of Poquat know that during our last meeting, we all voted on and affirmed that the master plan as it is written is formally accepted and no new changes are required at this time. It was discussed updating the master plan, but the cost for the minor changes were deemed as not worth the cost. At this time, we are stating that the master plan has been reviewed and is deemed to be useful or to be used for any future reference. Thoughts?
I mean, it was last done, what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, there aren't many outside of the,
So when I looked at the master plan ahead of this, my only thought was that there's a lot of aspects of it that are completely, they don't change. You know, we don't have any commercial buildings being done, none of that. So I think for that purpose, it's fine. And a lot of the geographical studies, the land hasn't changed because we haven't done anything besides residential homes, and the shoreline is the shoreline controlled by the DEC and yada yada. But the survey that we did, the survey that kind of looks into resident interest, I don't know that should go another 10 years before we look at it. I think that portion. So I'm fine. You know, my thought was maybe the master plan, the survey part, maybe it's time for a new survey to get resident feedback on what is of interest.
I think, to tie into our upcoming conversation about, yeah,
Infrastructure.
I would agree. I think,
So now I think, can the board do a survey without affecting the master plan if they wanted to, if we wanted to? So, I mean, as far as accepting the master plan as is, I think they're right. A lot of things haven't changed, and a lot of things don't change because we don't have a lot of changes, you know, besides new homes or renovations. A lot of things don't change. So I wouldn't want to spend the money on a whole new master plan. But I think
like a couple of subplot or plots left that are,
there's
you know,
nothing
they can't be
really,
really-
you know, but I think the survey part of it I found interesting. So I think this is fine and we can accept their recommendation. But I think as a board, we should consider maybe circling back to a survey at some point in the next, you know, the next year, and coming up with a little bit more of a survey to get resident feedback on what's happening. We have a lot of new residents and a lot of varying opinions. So I don't think it would be, I don't want to go 10 years without finding out what people want.
That's a great idea.
So maybe we'll take that upon ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, so we're going to accept this recommendation and we will think about surveys, and I'll take you know what I'll do? I'll pull out the old one and I'll circulate it. We can kind of take a look at it and see how we would approach that going forward in the upcoming year.
This was an info, right? Like, would I have to receive that recommendation?
My-
Like, first memo or no?
What memo did you write?
No, I didn't write the memo. Rob
Oh,
wrote the memo. But this is-
no,
Yeah.
I think you're fine. So we're going to accept those two. All right. So while we're on the planning of topic, let's go back to the info session debrief. So to residents who weren't there, we had an info session last week where we talked about road conditions and road safety, because it's been a hot topic, and there were a lot of different touch points that we hit based on resident feedback, and we got a lot of feedback at the info session. I think for the purpose of why we did it, which was to get resident feedback, it was a very productive meeting. I think I may have misled people and given them the idea that everything that was on that list was our plan, which was not, but I think we still walked away with a lot of food for thought. Of the things that we discussed, I think my feeling, and then I'd like to hear everybody else's thoughts, I felt that the gate topic of gating the community, the sentiment was a resounding no. I felt that the road conditions and public safety increases were met with interest to varying degrees. And I felt that the biggest issue that was the biggest concern, that was the strongest opinions, was with speeding in the village and the installation of speed bumps. That was my takeaway. So gates, speed bumps moved from here to here, and the other two items are considerations that we're going to have to make as we go forward. Did anybody else have thoughts on how they interpreted it, or did everybody come back with the same sense?
Yes, I think
100%.
yeah.
All right, so
I think, in all honesty, you were extremely clear at the beginning of that meeting. So when I talked to different residents and got feedback, I was like, I don't know what you missed about the beginning of the meeting.
well, they may have missed the beginning of the meeting.
No, we said it also in the middle.
All right, well,
Right.
whatever it is.
That people thought,
I think
people
people
thought
get
that this
nervous.
was all.
I think people get nervous when they
get
see.
nervous, and then there was talk of taxes, and then I think they're like, oh my, but like, we never said we were doing any of this.
No,
It's
it was,
just
but
an
it was, I think the
informational
tax
Yeah.
thing probably threw people, because they felt like, is that happening? And I think, I mean, from my perspective was, if we don't have something as an example,
Right.
then we, if my taxes aren't going to go up and we're going to pave every road in Polquat,
Right.
that's
I also think
awesome.
that people, they want something and then they don't realize the cost of it. I think
Yeah,
it sounds great to pave all the roads, but it's cost prohibitive in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And I think people didn't realize how much it could potentially cost.
Well, I think that it's also a question of budget and understanding what we have in terms of budget. I mean, people did ask me, could we pave 3 roads with our existing budget? And we can't. We can't pave 1 road with our existing budget. We can continue to do pothole repairs. So, something does have to give at some point, because we do have some roads that are going to require paving in the next coming years. But
I agree that the speeding was really what I took away from that meeting. That was everyone really had a concern.
Big concerns.
Yeah.
So that being said, speed bumps. We presented the different versions. If it were my feeling is that between the speed cushions and the speed humps, I would probably lean towards the speed humps. I would not be opposed to doing a pilot on some of the Van Brunt seemed to be the road that everybody was most concerned about. I would not be opposed to doing a pilot with speed bumps. Coincidentally, the Suffolk County, what is it? The Suffolk
County.
Yeah, they sent out a survey to us asking us for feedback on how we feel, just last week, like right after the info
Really?
session, like they read our mind. So they were sending out a survey because the town of Brightwaters is having, a lot of the villages are having the same issues. They have the same issues with enforcement, and they were looking into doing speed bumps. So they put a memo out to SCOVA, and SCOVA circulated it to all the mayors in all the communities saying, if you have speed bumps, here's a laundry list of questions, can you answer them? So I contacted them and said, Poquat is also really interested in knowing the answers to all these questions. So they are going to be compiling all of that data and giving it to us. So we will have more information, because there were some really valid concerns as far as safety issues, that speed bumps could potentially have negative safety issues.
Right.
And a physician spoke about that, and he did present some concerns. There was liability issues. There was a lot of issues. So I'm hoping to get some more information on that. But did anybody do any homework on any of that?
Yeah, I did. So I got in touch with our insurance company, and she actually sent me she was very nice. She sent me a very long email. Basically, there's no increase to our premium for doing the speed bumps. Their biggest concern as an insurance company is if we got sued and there was some kind of liability. So what she's saying is you have to really follow the strict guidelines about how they're installed, where they're installed, that they're separated correctly. And she said one of the biggest issues with them when it comes to legal ramifications are the maintenance of them. They have to be maintained. So I can, send this whole email out to the board that she sent me, but as far as premium, it doesn't go up. And she said, there's always going to be good points and bad points. She gets this question all the time, even more so, lately from municipalities. But she said the maintenance is one of the really biggest issues. We have to make sure that they were maintained and installed completely correctly. And there's a whole list of standards from the Board of Transportation.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
She sent you all of that?
No, she sent me their name, and then we can get in touch with them. This is her memo outlining her answer to my question, but I just kind of summarized it. But I can, I'd be happy to send this out to all of you tomorrow.
Okay. Anybody else look into?
I looked into the speed radar.
Okay, that was just Bray and I, just to let you guys know, we had a discussion about the other thing that I thought, because if we were to do a pilot, I mean, people spoke about other roads, Washington, Singingwood. So if we were to do a pilot on speed bumps, another consideration would be to get you are doing, your speed is 30, your speed is 25, something along that line, what we discussed, and I don't know how far you got, but something that we could move to different locations to really gauge people's speed. I know that, honestly, when I see them, I slow down. They make me slow down. I see how fast I'm going, because sometimes people don't know. People don't really realize. I'm driving down Washington. I know we changed the speed limit to 25, but sometimes I come down Washington and I look and I'm like, wow, I'm doing 30.
Right.
So I don't think people are purposely. So I think a lot of people just aren't aware of what doing 25 actually is. But if there's a sign and you're flying by and it says 40,
right,
it could build awareness.
I agree.
Yeah. So what was the?
So I found a company. They're based out of Georgia, but they have local reps in the New York area. So I'm waiting to be connected with one of the local reps. But basically, this one sign can be transported to different locations. It runs on a battery pack. You just need brackets, so you can kind of move this around.
It's not solar? Is it solar or no?
No, it's not. It's either it only comes in battery or like
connected. Electric. Yeah, hardwired. We can't do that.
No.
But this is for purchase only. I'm trying to find a rent option. Having a little trouble with that one.
Okay.
But I'm going to do some more research and
Okay. I mean, what does everybody think about that?
I love it.
You like the speed?
I think it's a
I
great
think you're right.
reminder.
It, you know, kind of reminds people because it's blinking, it's flashing, it's tracking your attention, and
I'd love to. Did you see if there was anything that would record the speed, or is that a whole different?
yes. This one comes with a software that can be connected to software on your computer, phone, or whatever, and it records the data up to 12 months before it starts
I mean, if
going
we,
over itself again.
that would be, I think, great to actually have.
Yeah.
I mean, we tried it and it didn't work with the
Right,
cameras.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
It's aesthetically, it's not attractive. So I don't know long term if that's what long term, because they will be blinking, so somebody will complain that it's blinking in their
Well, I think
living
it,
room.
it
right?
only
And
turns
so-
on when it picks up the car.
Yes,
But
but
yeah.
cars go all hours of the day and night,
Right.
right? So if you're at 3 in the morning and you're at that corner, wherever it is stationed that day, and someone goes through it and it blinks and now somebody's bedroom window is there,
So are we talking about the portable wheeled units? Are we talking about something that can be like pole mounted, like you see
This
when
is-
you're in a school
No,
zone?
portable.
I was looking at one that's like pole mounted, so it could go on like a telephone pole.
Okay.
It's the smallest option. They come in like
I think we
5
should
different
definitely look at the
sizes.
smallest option.
Yeah,
Those
I've
big
been looking
wheeled
into
ones
that
are
one.
yeah,
really.
that's what I'm thinking, the big.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
no.
Yeah, this one was like
it looks like a
specified
sign.
Yeah, it's like the one outside of is it Jelena's?
Yeah.
Something like that, but I think it's even smaller than that. Where it just says your speed and then it has the number. And you can customize everything. You can turn off the blinking if you want. You can, there's all these different customizations.
Make a little
in
happy
that.
face. You're doing this. You're doing the right limit.
Good for you.
Did they give you any idea as far as cost?
No, I've been trying to get that information. The woman from Georgia has been trying to connect me with the local person, which is supposed to give me the quote, but I've been going back and forth for the past.
I wouldn't want to put speed bumps on all the roads, so I think
No.
this would be. I think this would be a really good way to address the other ones. And I mean, my thoughts are, if we could manage it in any other way, and it wouldn't have to be ugly, and it wouldn't have to be a speed bump, I would love for there to be another way. But the only other way is enforcement, and we just. I'm going to contact Suffolk County. I'm going the police and advise them, our speed limit's lower. You might be able to get more tickets, but they come when they can come, and we don't have an incident. We don't have reports of this is a bad area that always has car accidents. There's always problems on this corner. That would be a motivator, but there is no real motivation because we don't really have incidents. We have concerned residents who are walking. I would like to pursue that further if everybody, I get what you're saying, Darlene. I think you're right. It would have to be something temporary. And if we could rent something and
I'm
then
gonna look into
return it,
rent.
that would be great, because I think if we could gather data and do it at this location for a month and this location for a month and this location for a month, we're
Even
small.
just changing the direction on the road,
Yeah,
right? So taking it,
This-
in the north direction, taking it in the south
Mhm.
direction on
Right.
the same road, and just
so I think that would be,
Yeah, and I think the data collection, I think would be great.
yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, and we're challenged between ugly and safe, and I think we have to go for safe, given what everybody said.
right.
Given the sentiment, it was pretty strong. So if everybody's okay with it, I think we should
I think we should look into it more.
look
Find out the
into
cost and-
look into that and the speed bumps. Now, if
I think the speed bumps, right? So I did contact another village about speed bumps, because they have them actually in a lot of places. They don't have so many issues, they said, with noise, because I know noise was, they said, because once people realized that they were there, they stopped going so quickly over that because it became a problem with their car, right? They said where they did find issues was trucks, was where they had them, was like almost like a 25A
Who
type
is
of
the
thing.
village?
The Village of Scarsdale.
Okay,
So they said that they have a lot of trucks, which loosens things, so they would have to repair them. But for them, it was worth.
the investment.
Yes, they said.
Did it
was-
slow traffic down?
Yes, they said it definitely slowed traffic down. And they put them in front of schools. So they had school buses that went over them, lots of traffic, obviously, and snow removal. And again, they were very specific that you have to tell the snow removal people, or sometimes they'll get under it and actually lift it up. Right?
Well-
So just to remind them where they're located.
Yeah. Well,
that
I
was really more
spoke
of their
to
issues.
our current contractor, and he said they wouldn't be a problem. But the other thing is, in all honesty, I wouldn't want to do the asphalt ones. I would want to do
No, they
the
didn't have that. They had
the rubber
humps.
ones.
Yeah, they had the rubber ones. I don't think anyone does the
the
asphalt ones anymore. I think those are just not. They're not productive. They're not for
they
cars.
break down too often.
Yeah,
They
signage.
chip off. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay.
the other thing.
So
Insurance
signage
companies
was a
said
big-
you have to
yes.
have signage.
So
Because
people
if
know
you
to slow
don't,
down.
And their car gets ruined,
Right.
then you're liable. You have
Okay,
to
so-
well signed, yeah.
So I think, are we all good? We're gonna pursue this a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's. I mean, throw a couple of speed bumps
And I'll
down.
tell you too, the town of Greenboro, which is part of Scarsdale, they had a very major road, kind of like 25A.
Yeah.
They put those signs up where pedestrians cross. Where you
On-
push the
on
button,
a
where you
road
actually
like-
push the
Oh,
button
yeah,
and then
it lights up or
Yeah.
something.
and that has, they said, definitely slowed down traffic immensely. Which we didn't know, we don't need because we don't have pedestrian walkways, but.
Right.
But just like you
Like
said,
are
any
you
kind
talking
of
about
sign-
like the one up by Norald Hollow?
Yes,
Where the lights flash
Yeah.
when the
Yes.
pedestrians?
Oh, the bicycle path?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they said that was very,
All right. So
very good for them.
So let's keep going. Let's get, I'm gonna get the data from the local villages. Jacqueline, do you want to look into, who was that New York State, what the rules are
Yeah.
for installation?
Yeah.
I mean, I think honestly, if we were gonna install them for liability purposes, we'd probably want to have an engineer tell us where to put them. I know Scott Dalton volunteered his house, but I don't know if his house is the
Well, I
right,
think his house is right where the stop sign is, but it has to be so many feet off the stop sign.
right, because people have to be able to
Right,
turn.
so it's almost like you have to go over it and then stop. So it has to be further away from the stop sign so that you can actually slow down to the stop sign, go over it really slow, and then actually you're right, you stop it again.
Right,
Right.
and it can't be like at too close to an intersection because
No.
people can't turn
But
into
they're
it.
saying that we should have an engineer come and do an inspection to like certify that
That's the
they're in
location.
right, we got the signage. It's the legal thing that the insurance company was most.
So are we thinking Van Brunt? Because
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
Van
Yeah,
Brunt.
I think that
100%.
that's
If we're gonna
definitely
do a
For the first
study,
one,
For the
yeah.
first one, yeah.
and
let's
how
do-
many? 2, 3, based
No.
on an engineer?
I
I
would
think
say
one
or two.
or two?
At the most, yeah.
All
I
right,
would say even one, like depending on where you're gonna put it on
Let's-
Van Brunt.
let's-
So let's say while we're gonna put it, and if it's in the middle of Van Brunt, that might slow down traffic. If you need two, I
But
think
now-
that would be.
If we put these down, are we monitoring like the traffic on the street? Like how are we going to decide if this works?
Scott Dalton.
I think Scott Dalton will let us know.
The people that live there.
So we just create a new position, commissioner.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Commissioner of road
think,
safety.
we'll know the same way that we know that there's a speeding problem, we'll know if it's
We're gonna know.
going away. I think Van Brunt's the road to do it. I think that's the one where people are the most, and people walk on that by the shore. That's like a lot of pedestrians. I know there's a lot on Washington too, but
But
I feel
we
like,
try it more on, I think Van Brunt is the
I-
better place to
And then if
do the
it
pilot.
works,
Yeah,
we figure
that we
it
can
out.
always do
yeah,
that.
and hopefully if we do it and people don't want more, they'll just slow down.
Right.
That's the goal. They'll see them and they'll go, oh, no, there's going to be one everywhere. We got to stop driving so fast.
We gotta stop driving.
Maybe we put a few on that road.
Yeah. No, well, I think one or two. Let's look at one or two. Let's see what it costs to have an engineer come and evaluate the road. I'll make some phone calls. We'll see about that and we'll get some prices. But let's continue with the flashing one.
Yeah,
Let's
I
keep
will.
digging further and see what that cost is. And then let's look at the two costs together because that's gonna, if we're gonna do it, I think we should look to do it this spring, and it's gonna hit our budget coming up, so
They
let's,
said, like 6 weeks for delivery,
okay.
so we want it by a specific time.
Let's try it. I think let's make some real efforts towards the speed thing for this coming
I agree.
spring, summer, this season. And then we'll see how it goes, and who knows, maybe everybody will just stop and start driving great. That would be the dream. All right, was there anything else from the info session that anybody else felt that they wanted to talk about? All good?
I was, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but there was a lot of people that were interested in increasing
Code.
that I didn't expect to hear from the meeting.
Yeah.
Like an overwhelming
Amount, yeah.
of
Well, I
people.
think that would be, I think code and the streets, what we're gonna do. I mean, and the other thing that we have to understand is that the street portion, the road thing, that's our infrastructure, and we do that all the time.
Yeah.
Code and the speed bumps would be kind of a new direction to take. So I think my feeling is let's go move forward with the speed bumps, the speed control. Let's put code looking into more hours and what that looks like. Let's put that on another kind of to-do list. And the road portion, as far as repaving, I don't think it's practical and realistic that we're going to be able to do that wish list. That was just, I mean, to be clear, that was just a wish list. For us to pave every road in Pokebot, I don't think it's practical. I don't think it'll ever happen in that huge capacity. Plus, I don't think it's necessary. We have roads that don't need it.
Yep.
So I think to have them further evaluated, and also, the information that we got, that list of those roads that we had, was from the pothole guys just kind of giving me their once over. We'd have to have that engineered. And I think that's something we should consider. And the fact that people were interested and people have come back and said, could you do 1 or 2 roads? In the big scheme of things, that's something that we actually are going to have to do. I think that was more of an illustration of what costs look like. But I'm going to circle back to another issue as far as roads, an infrastructure issue. So I think let's do bumps first. Let's do code enforcement. Let's look into that a little bit. And I mean, I walked away with Gates is gone, and we'll go from there, right? Okay. While we're on this, I'm going to jump around. Let's go on to item number, I think, well, actually, you don't have it. I added it because item 15, it's not on here. I actually added it. I have another one. So here's an issue, an infrastructure issue. So we have a drainage problem happening on New Street. I have photographs of code. We've gotten multiple, one of the residents who was there who brought it up. We have a couple of locations that we've gotten multiple resident complaints, but New Street's the one that's having the most problems. Here's some photos of, we have a drain here that's failing. Now, we did put more drains in there not too long ago, but the ones that we did, they're better, but it's not sufficient, not with the rain that we've been getting. And there's a resident whose property, 2 residents whose properties are flooding, and the roads flooding during the rain. And just to proceed this for the residents, when we talk about flooding, we're not talking about when you get a notice that there's going to be coastal flooding and you see Van Brunt, the water rise, the tide comes in. That's not, there's no drain that can fix that,
Prevent
those
that,
kind of
right.
problems. When we have coastal flooding, we're a coastal community, we're gonna get flooding. This is drains that are not working. They are all set. All of the drainage is for a certain amount of rainfall. It's supposed to manage an average amount. When we get a monsoon, there's gonna be flooding. But when we get an average amount of rain and drains are failing, that's when it becomes an infrastructure issue that we have to address. There's one on Shen that we're trying to determine. We did do an emergency, I don't know if you guys remember,
Yeah,
we
saw
did
that.
the emergency cleaning, and we're monitoring that one to see how it's holding up, if that requires drainage issues. We're taking photos when it rains and monitoring the amount of rain. But that one on New Street, in any amount of rain, is failing. So that is that one right now. We on the agenda we have we got some quotes for, we have to have those drains cleaned first to determine if it's just that they're full from all the stormwater that we've had this past winter, or if we have to put another drain in. So the first step is going to be to get the drains cleared out, see if that alleviates the problem. And then if it doesn't, we're going to have to look at putting in another drain.
So right now, there's a curb drain on New, and then there's
There's 6,
street drain
yeah,
right in front of the property.
right.
That's having the
Yes.
issue. So you're getting water from essentially 3 different directions.
It's
Those
coming down
drains.
Maple too.
It's coming
Both
down.
sides
It's
of
coming down
Maple.
both sides of
Yeah,
Maple, and then there's a severe pitch runoff coming from Chestnut also.
Right.
So everything coming down.
It's
instead
a
of
3-way
just
thing.
coming
The
through
thing is,
that
the
way.
road's really small, and we just dropped a 10 by 10 drain. Just, I don't know how many years ago. I mean, we were trustees when it
Yeah.
happened. So not too long ago, we
Yeah.
opened up that road to try to alleviate this issue, and we put a huge drain. And we might need another one. We might need another one further back to catch what's coming down from Maple. I mean, that's something we're going to have to look into with, like, have an engineer, have stormwater, have building department look at it. For tonight's purpose, we have to decide on, we got some quotes, right? We have the quotes in here? Okay, you probably have them. My little rogue list probably doesn't.
I don't think they do. Not enough.
Oh,
On that list.
so,
I could pull up one for you quick, but I don't have the other.
which ones do we have? We had, Park.
Parkline,
I have the other one.
Want me to grab Parkline?
Yeah, and you want me to email
I
you
think
the
can
other one?
pull up Parkline and email it.
Okay, let me pull them up.
Are these all separate self-contained drains, or they flow into a?
Some of them some of them are tied. I think one of them's separate. I asked the previous vendor to tell me what they did. That's the other issue that we have with the drainage.
Yeah.
We don't have a drainage
Yeah, do we have a
map.
plan, like a drain map,
No.
drainage plan?
We know where our drains are,
Okay.
and that's where it ends.
We don't know like size, quantity.
Not, we know it for the ones that have been done in recent years, but we don't know it. So if they dropped a 10 by 10 and tied that in, we might have like a rudimentary idea of what's going on New Street,
Mhm.
but that's just New Street. We don't have like a lot of
Master
drainage
drainage
villages
plan.
have like a master drainage plan. Let me see. So oh, I know where I have them. Hold on. Okay, it's not here. Okay, so quote for New Street is the Vector machine for 1 day, which is that the, is, okay, and I have Royals. So, should I print this? I'll try to print.
This is the cost of one.
This
That's
is
for
what,
the day.
that's for the
Oh,
day.
okay.
They're gonna do all
And
of
then
them.
it depends
So it's basically what it costs to have the equipment and the labor to suck out what's in the drain, and then the disposal of what's in the drain is also quite expensive. So you have Parkline. I think I just tried
I don't
printing
know
this.
if you, in addition, I don't know if you saw when you drove, looked at it, but that curb drain also,
It looks like
it's in need of repair.
Yeah.
It's a concrete curb drain, and
and it's falling apart.
yeah, it's exposed rebar. It needs to be like repoured
Okay, well,
or replaced with one of the metal ones.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to restore at least some of it, but I think we have to start by clearing the drains and seeing, if we don't clear them, we won't know what we need.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
did it
that's not
print?
Yes.
I mean, that's obviously not the whole problem there, but
It's-
it's definitely
Yeah,
contributing to the issue.
All right.
It's an open hole basically.
So- we have the one, their labor is $34.50. And then this debris disposal is $1,600 per load. And then Royal is $4,500 with a lower, I think they had a lower number for
They were 200
per yard, but the loads are different. So what
Yeah.
did we figure? We figured that,
Parkline says usually a load is about 15 yards. You know, between 15 and 17
Oh,
cubic yards.
then that'd be significantly cheaper. but
Parkline.
not the rate.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this one's one that we have to kind of pull the trigger on. This can't wait until we do our usual drain cleaning. We have to, and then,
Like that Vector truck has a tank of 15 cubic yards, roughly.
Yeah.
Yes, the Parkline.
Parkline.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with Parkline, and we're gonna have to, we'll
Is
put,
that confirmed? It's 15. It's a 15
Yeah, I
cubic yard
reached
load.
out to them.
yeah. So we'll go with Parkline for this one,
Yeah.
and we'll do this now, and then
When
we'll have,
they drain it, would they be able to tell once they drain it if that drain is connected to any of the other drains?
we can ask them. I mean,
I mean, if we're in there, right? I'll see if we can.
well,
try
we
and
could
do a
also lower Theo on a little thing. He needs more work.
little, drop him in a harness and
He's
just, like,
small enough. Drop him in with a harness
see
and
what he
a
eats.
yardstick.
See how much I could eat. So I don't know if fit down there.
All right, so we're gonna do that. So
Or
that
just went
takes
down there.
care of that. All right, let's go back up the list. Let me see what I missed. Planning board.
General Code 7.
General code supplementation quote.
Mhm.
What was that?
So we have a quote from General Code who does, the uploading of all our laws to the website and also our code books. And typically we do this once a year, and they provided us a quote of between $1,625 and $1,980
For all the laws
Yep,
that
for the
we've
past year.
updated.
Yep, there was 7. It's typically something you do every year, and it is in the budget. We do have
It's
something
just,
that's budgeted for every year.
don't look at me like so you're looking at me like stop spending money. I can't help it.
I mean,
Do you have to do that every year?
Yeah. Well, when we change the laws, right? Don't we have to update it every time we change the laws? We have to, right?
pocket
Yeah,
it,
also,
put the other 1,500 back in.
They keep track of the laws that we're filing. Part of the service they provide is they keep track of the laws that we're filing in Albany. And then when we file a law, what they do is they put a special link at the top of our code, so people know what the most recently adopted laws are. They keep the code online, they host the code online so people can go and look at it.
This is the E-code so that residents can see
And
what the,
they provide us updates, and, they let us know great things that are happening in Albany, that affect us every now and then, and,
well, that alone is worth $1,600.
but it's unfortunately, those books, to go back, the only other thing you can do is go back to those books, and those are like $300 or $400 a piece, plus you have to constantly up.
No, I think honestly, I think the residents like to be able to go to E-code, and they quote me better on our laws than I even know. So I think having it online we've been doing that. So I think that's just, okay. So additionally, we have cyber insurance quote.
Wait, may I interrupt 1 second? With regard to the, what's in the budget, there's still $1,300 left in budget on the code.
Okay, that's good.
Just so you're aware of that.
All right, great. Thanks, Ron. Cyber insurance?
Okay, cyber insurance is something, we have to get every year. It's due to renew March 17th. And our previous rate was $1,473, and they quoted us $1,692.
March, you said?
March 17th.
What?
Is that for like that's for breach? There's a, like
All of our cyber
ransomware?
insurance.
Yeah,
Like a 15%
Yeah,
increase.
I printed this, it
10%.
includes like security breach, restoration of electronic data, extortion threats, there's a whole list of security breach, regular defense and penalties, all different kinds of liabilities and things like that.
Well, I mean, in our policy, we have to have it, right, Joe?
Yeah.
This is something we have to have, so,
Required to have
yeah.
comptroller's office.
Okay. All right, so that's the number on cyber. So just to let you know, we're going to be spending some money on updating our code, online, our codes, and the cyber insurance that's coming our way. All right. As far as Nat Grid meeting, I just want to let you guys know, I met with some folks at Nat Grid remember I had mentioned the Steve Matthews Preserve. So my request to them, because the history is that when they originally established it, the Three Village Community Trust had approached Poquat about making that land, utilizing it, and Nat Grid and Brookhaven were supposedly on board, but the board at the time wanted it to be left as is. So I had asked them, I met with them, we walked the property, and I asked them to, let's do something with it. It's right now, it just is there. I suggested maybe we could establish a walking path or something so that people aren't walking on the road worried about speeders and they have a place to walk. Something nothing crazy, but like maybe just utilize the land so it just doesn't look like that. And if that doesn't work, my suggestion to them was maybe we could cut back the trees a little bit and they could help us with planting, like maybe do some, what are they, the perennials that bloom every year so that when you're coming down Washington, it's not just the woods, it might look a little nicer.
Yeah.
So the two women that I met with from Nat Grid, they're bringing it back because Nat Grid, and I of course asked them to do it so that we don't have to spend a dime. I mean, they have programs for community. They do have community programs and they're utilizing the land. So they're going to get back to me. They're going to go back and say, Poquat's interested in doing something, utilizing that land a little bit better. Can we at least make it, at the very least, make it look pretty when you drive in, right? So that's still in the works. It took a little while to meet with them, and I'll keep you posted. All right.
Runs all the way down to the water.
It does, but it's like the Poquat land's actually the one by the water. It's like a three-way co-op. It's Brookhaven, Port Jefferson, and Poquat all have easement rights to it. I mean, my suggestion as far as use and doing anything would be where it doesn't encroach on any residents' properties, because if you go all the way down to the water, now you're in people's backyards, and no one's
right.
gonna want to see a hiker in their backyard off of Cedar and
Right.
Bayview, but
Right.
like up in Washington, there's actually quite a lot, and
Yeah.
they could maybe utilize that. I don't know what they're gonna come back to, but I did initiate a meeting and seeing what they say, and I'm hoping that at the very least, they'll let us, push back and help us with cutting down some trees and putting up some
Yeah.
nicer, making it look nicer.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Okay, commissioner reports. So, new thing I had asked at the beginning of the year, at the end of 2023, I thought it would be good for our budget to get our commissioners. We have 6 commissioners, for the beaches, the parks, easements, 25A corridor. So I had put out a message to all of them, asking them to give me a report on the conditions. I'm gonna try to do that biannually, once in January and once in August, to let us know what's going on in the areas that are assigned to them and what they'd like to see, what they hear from residents, and the feedback. So everybody got the reports. I'm not going to read them out loud. I think Eddie's here. So I got, out of the 6, I got 3. The other ones that we didn't receive are going to be deferred because we have to do the budget. We're getting right into budget season. So the ones that we didn't get, we're going to just consider everything perfect and focus on the ones that we did get. Ron's easement report was pretty generic. Besides the staircase over here at Walnut needing some more reinforcements. Unfortunately, we did some. It looks really ugly. I think we're gonna have to do more, and it isn't gonna look any prettier, but we'd have to build a staircase if we didn't do the reinforcements. So I think for immediate, this year coming up, let's just do whatever reinforcements we need to do there. And the rest of the report was basically, the easements are nice. We already did Steve's path last year, so that doesn't need to be addressed. That hole that he mentioned is, we assessed it. It's nothing. It's not. There's a hole underneath the ground, but the staircase is stable over it, so it doesn't need to be addressed. As far as Trustees Park, a couple of items that would affect our budget. Bonnie is asking for mulching the planted garden beds. That's usually not part of our landscaping contract, so that would be outside of it, but I don't think it's a bad idea. The 2 community garden plots that she requested be removed, we actually removed them already, so we just need to seed them in the spring. Request to add picnic tables. That is, I'm looking at other picnic tables to replace the ones at California. We got to kind of look at that budget, because the ones at California were a disaster, and you saw them. They were like completely falling apart. So those have to be replaced, and I'm going to actually look at that budget to see what we do here, because California gets a lot more action.
Were there any memorial benches that PCA recognized that were going into where the garden is?
Trustees?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not really.
I don't know if there's any more of those. But I mean, if the budget allows it, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But we'll see where we are. Right now,
Is there any way to sit? It's like people's children are playing on their playground
here?
Yeah.
There's a picnic table there. There's one.
There's one.
Yeah. And then projects for consideration, compost bin, Little Free Library. We have Fran already covered that, so we can just say, yay, that's done. I don't know what bat boxes are.
They're just like small little boxes with a hole.
For bats?
Yeah.
It's for gnome control.
They're usually like higher
It
up.
attracts bats, yeah. And it's like a mosquito.
Do we have bats?
Yeah. Oh, we definitely have bats.
And they're good to have around.
Yeah.
Are they cheap?
It's just
Yeah.
a wooden box, yeah, and then on a
Like on
pole
top
or
of a
something.
pole.
I'm down with the
They
bat
probably think it's
box.
a birdhouse, but it's not, it's a bat house.
All right, I'm down with the bat box.
There's one on Deirdre's
You need
lawn.
two.
You need
Right,
two?
She only bought one.
One for the girls and one for the boys?
Right.
Okay,
Two bat boxes.
so we need some gender specific bat boxes. All right.
Exactly correct, or they won't
I
go
like
in
that.
at all.
Do you know where they have to be placed?
No, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. All right, so we have to get a commissioner of bat boxes. We'll have to appoint somebody for that.
Do we have any Eagle Scout friends?
Yeah, do you want to throw in a couple of bat boxes there?
Afraid not, but I'll let them know.
Yeah, that's, if anyone's looking for a project.
Tina, she said about the greenhouse, I mean, I love the idea, utilize greenhouse to germinate seeds. Plants are so expensive, but is it safe to go into the greenhouse?
Yeah, it is,
It
but
is?
it's safe to go in there.
It's not pretty,
We
but.
cleaned it, we
Yeah,
cleared it last year at
Okay,
the,
that's a great idea.
but it's,
Yeah,
I think there's some cracks in the actual windows.
You pay for your own
Yeah.
stuff, you just.
So
You
we
have
might,
protection.
that might
Yeah.
require some fixing.
I mean,
So-
she did a whole number of terminations, right? Like a number of plots in the, yeah, end of the last year.
I like that idea.
So none of this to me is outrageous. I think what I would do is say, why doesn't everybody give me their feedback on it as we're planning the budget? Like make a wish list of what you feel is, rate these items on a scale of, pick your top 10 and get them back to me.
Does she know, was her request for money to mulch prior to our agreement to raise the, or associated cost with the plots?
It
Does
was
she
in
know that?
tandem of it.
Okay, so she knows that there's gonna be like a small budget,
That's,
basically.
but that's not
It's not
really
gonna
her
cover her.
budget, and it's not gonna cover the mulch. We would
Okay.
have to decide
And
to
in
do that.
addition-
But I think,
No, but I think what he's saying is that there is some added budget, like there's some revenue, yeah.
so
some added revenue.
we got half a bag, we've got half a bag of, we've got half a bag of mulch.
I think you might just get a few things.
All right, so let's do the top 10 picks of this commissioner's report, and then we're gonna do the same thing with Eddie's. Eddie, you're here, so if you wanted to talk, did you want to speak about any of these?
I don't have it in front of me.
Do you want me to
But,
give you a copy?
If you want to bring up some points and I can elaborate on them.
Trash overflow, well, I'm gonna go through the ones that I highlighted that I liked. So, trash overflow from garbage receptacles, 100%, we need more garbage
Yeah.
cans down there.
And improve just like a different design.
Yeah.
We, if you wanna throw out some garbage designs,
I started shopping around for
All right,
them, so I'll send
so
you
I
the
think we're definitely gonna need to do that, and the ones that are down there, we can bring up here. So the garbage, there's way too much, that beach is very high trafficked, and those are always overflowing. So I definitely wanna look into more garbage cans, probably at California too, but definitely at Walnut. So that one we don't even have to put it on the top of the list, that's already on my list. Late spring PSAs, doesn't cost us anything, so I love it. Installation of signage on beach with courtesy request, that's fine. I think we can definitely swing a sign. Upgrade to shower hose platform, new hose head for washing down chairs, sit tables. I didn't know until you put this out here that there was a hose down there at all. Yeah, I didn't even know, but you're talking about the platform, like for you to stand on, so your feet aren't standing in. Yeah.
This is all based off of resident input, people who frequent that beach, and then just my own observations. Again, being someone who's down there.
And now you want more picnic tables?
So there was a consideration of a switch out.
But the ones at California are gone.
Like the old existing. Yeah, so I think that this had been brought up, switching out the 6 foot for 8 foot down there, and then bringing the existing ones at Walnut to California.
Maybe.
I don't know what the cost is.
Yeah.
So,
think California needs some picnic tables, but we'll see. That's not a terrible idea. We could look into the 6 foot, the 8 foot
I
ones.
like that.
But is it
Yeah.
gonna be like
Think-
just a transfer? of the
No, I
building
get it.
there?
That's not a bad idea. That's probably a great idea, actually. All right, so besides that, I think, again, let's take a look at this and do our top 10 off of the two. I mean, the easements was really just an update, and the only thing to change is the staircase, and we're just gonna leave it as is and support it for this budget cycle. And these two, let's circle back in the next couple of weeks and give me your top choices, because I'm gonna start doing budget numbers with Ron and Natalie, and we're gonna need to have an idea what we have where. All right? Thank you to all our commissioners who reported. Very quickly, landscaping contract capital assets policy. So, Ron, that's something that we were talking about. I met with, R.S. Abrams, the auditor, as far as protocols and policies. We went through a number of things. I just met with them on Friday. So we went through a number of things including assets and how we treat them. It touched on the calculating of this. I'm waiting to hear back from them. So this is just like kind of a placeholder. I'll have more information.
They gave me a company I spoke to.
Oh, yeah, they mentioned that.
Yeah. I
Did you
spoke
talk to them?
I did. They, they kind of reinforced what Ron said, given our status, that right now that there's not necessarily a need, but I think if we're going to, the consensus was if we're going to get involved in a larger project, would be in infrastructure or roads where we would be bonding a larger number, then it would be potentially be more beneficial to have this cleaned up.
Right.
And we can set, and Ron, maybe you can confirm this, but we can set our low limit.
We have a threshold already.
Do we already?
Mhm.
What's it at?
5,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So perfect. So I mean, the company was talking about
Right, 5,000.
like a minimum of $2,400 cost to come in per day to start doing asset inventory, basically.
How much?
2,500
A day?
for I mean,
Can they do it all in one day?
based on our assets, but we wouldn't know until so he said if we send over to them, if we do some of the legwork and send over a list of what we are, kind of like a base list of what we assume or what we count as our asset threshold, then they can give us a better idea of how long it would take.
Well, when I
to
met
do
with
the-
them, they concurred with Ron as well, saying it's not, unless we're going for, I mean, we went for the dock loan and it didn't affect us. So unless we've got that in our, sites, I don't know if I would spend that money right now.
No,
We don't
I
have a
agree.
reason to.
Yeah, I just think it's something to kind of
We
keep in the
could,
back
we
of our
could,
mind
we
as we're
could do
going
that
forward.
in like a little background kind of thing, a little try to piece something together so that it's there if we need it.
Yeah, so we at least have some
Yeah.
a running inventory.
But
assets.
regarding the rest of it, I'm waiting for them to get back to me, so I don't have anything really to report on that. So stay tuned on that one as well. Landscaping contract, I spoke to our current contractor and told them, asked them if they're interested in continuing. We could extend them for a year. I mean, I think they've done a pretty good job. They've been very responsive. They did a good job with the snow too. So my inclination is that if we can extend it rather than put it out to bid, because anytime we put it out to bid, the numbers go up. So I think I would extend their contract, and they're going to get back to me on that. I think they'll probably be interested, hopefully. So waiting to hear about that. Civil service has been working with Jess on, gathering information, and they have made the request that our building clerk keep track hourly. We had switched her to salary, but they made the request that they made the demand or the rule that it has to be, she needs to keep track of her hours. So if she's gonna do that, my inclination is just to switch her back to the hourly where we were. It's just gonna be easier because she's gonna have to clock in and clock out. And then the salary's not gonna match the hourly and it's gonna turn
She
into a
should
whole.
probably be hourly.
Yeah, so we're gonna go right back to where she was. We did that to try to make life easier, but it actually made it more difficult.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
We talked about emergency drain cleaning, and then Meals on Wheels, thank you. Do we have it? Did we read it? No, just read it. I don't have any other right. I gotta start going with the group because I'm always off with my own little agenda. Help me out. Oh, all right. The Board of Directors of the Three Village Meals on Wheels, as well as our client, would like to express our gratitude to you and your community of Poquot for doing a food collection drive for the clients of our organization. The community, under your guidance, has provided extra food for the homebound residents in our program with non-perishable food for snow days when delivery of meals is not safe for our drivers. The food was wrapped in cellophane and ribbon and was given to our clients individually on their routes. Our drivers enjoyed the extra care package that they were also able to deliver. Please thank the community of Poquot for their help in the community and for your assistance in helping with this important project. And I have to say that Ray Graham took this on as a 1 week new trustee. Nice job.
Nice job, Ray.
Well done. So we got kudos on that. And I'm echoing, time to wrap this one up. Okay, open items for the board to review from the village attorney. Yay, Joe, you talk for a little while. I'm done.
So I have a couple of things that I've been working on. One is, I want to mention to you that on the agenda, I think on the agenda tonight, the public hearing is the tax cap law. And I just wanted to mention that, this is basically just precautionary, and because when you go through at the end of the budget process, when you find out really whether or not you need to pierce the cap, then it's too late to adopt the local law. You need to have the local law even go over 0.01% over the 2%. When they adopted the law several years ago, it was supposed to be inflation adjusted, and really hasn't been the experience that it has been. I don't think there's a significant adjustment this year because of the inflation that we've experienced. So we pretty much that's where that. But however, if we get to the budget process and the board does not need to pierce the cap, then the law just goes on.
Do we have to rescind it or it just goes away?
No, it just goes on its way.
Okay.
That's it. It expires. Sunsets is actually the proper word.
Sunsets?
You asked me 2 or 3 months ago to start working on a policy that would be a supplement to our electronic equipment policy, which basically is a way that the village would handle electronic equipment that had data on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I started working on it, but we have a policy which is a combined electronic equipment and also internet policy, because a lot of the way that the comptroller's office views this is that they prefer to combine policy because they think that most of the electronic equipment is involved in IT, and they wanted it folded in, the two policies folded together for that reason. So when I started adding like a page or two of what we would do with equipment, it just became too cumbersome to deal with. And what I was able to do was basically separate the policy into two policies that I'm recommending. One is the IT policy, and the other is electric equipment policy,
Okay.
and what to do with data sensitive equipment. And I have a number of steps that are within that policy that basically is what we would do when we have a computer or something that we need to that has become obsolete, and what to do with it.
Okay, that policy came to me and I didn't have time to look at it, so I didn't send it to you guys, but I will. You'll get it next week. I just, it kind of had to fall off the radar. We had a lot of stuff to go over tonight. So we'll put that, I'll circulate it this week and then we'll look into it for next month. Thanks.
Can I
Joe.
just add on one thing? That should also include copiers.
Copiers?
Yes.
That's a really good point. Thank you, Ron.
Okay.
Any kind of a scanner or a copier is collecting data. Everybody should be aware that scanners and copiers collect data now. You have to be very careful because everything that you scanned or copied is in, that somewhere in the chip somewhere.
Okay.
So
All right.
you can't just throw it, move it out to the curb anymore.
So do you have to add that or do you want
It
to?
would be, it would be equipment that's covered.
Oh, it's covered under it.
the
Okay.
policy.
So,
the only thing I'll mention is that it's been coming up now annually. We wait to see what the governor's budget is going to include. The budget process now in the state has become more of a legislative function than a budget function where it ends up being a couple thousand pages and there's a few hundred pages of an actual budget and the rest of it is these kinds of laws that we've been hearing about the accessory unit laws and when 1 year was cannabis and then next year it's something else. But there's a lot of different laws that end up being adopted now along with the governor's budget. So all the villages are just waiting to see what impacts we have from that.
okay. Keep us posted. One other thing, just to let you guys know, we are redoing the public hearing. I didn't mention this we're redoing the public hearing for the local law for property maintenance, only because there was an error on my end as far as what I think put up for the phone call. There was some discrepancy on my end, so we brought it back to give people the opportunity because there were some callers that had called and said that they weren't able to call in. That's on me.
When I saw the thing, I was like, didn't we do this?
No, we did it. Nothing has changed. It's the same law. We're just giving, I wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity. So we fixed that. So it's back on and that's that. All right. So that brings us to the end of the work session. And that is at motion to adjourn the work session portion of our meeting at 7:36. So move. All in favor? All right. Do we fly on? Does anybody need a break? Fly on? All right, wait, I got a motion. What, should I do the public hearings first, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. So do I do the pledge before the public hearings?
Yes.
Okay. So
Well,
let's,
that's up to you.
that's optional. All right. So let's do the public hearings. Let's do the pledge first. All right. Jeremy, you do it. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So I am going to, Joe, you're going to have to help me with this. Do I call the public hearing to order?
I would do a motion to open public hearing on local law.
Okay, motion to open, do I have to time it? Put the time on it or no?
I would record it.
Okay, so motion to open the public hearing on local law of 2024 amending section 120-2 A and B and creating sections 120-2 K, L, M, N, and O of the Poquat Village Code property maintenance at 7:37. Do I have to get a second?
Yes.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, public hearings open. Do we have any comments?
Yeah, hi,
Okay.
Roger Flint here. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Roger. How are you?
Oh, good. So, so far I've been able to find out, I haven't been in the village, but can you briefly summarize what these changes are?
Yes, I have to have the local law in front of me. Do I have a copy of it? Sorry, Roger, my paperwork's not right. So did you get a copy of it, Roger, or no?
I haven't been in the village, able to get to the village hall.
Well, rather than read it to you, I can tell you that we made some modifications to property maintenance. This has been going on now for several months. In a nutshell, we've got some changes to boat storage. Geez, it's kind of tough. I'm sorry you weren't here. I wish I'd have known. I would have emailed you this because to read
Oh,
you the old amendments.
I'm one who tried to connect last month, but
I know, and
the
you're the one.
published
You're the reason.
information
You're
was
the reason
wrong.
we're doing it again. I heard that you had trouble connecting, so this is
Yeah,
all
so
for
anyway,
you.
yeah, there really isn't a mechanism short of going to Village Hall Monday through Thursday from 10 to 1 or whatever those hours are to see what these change suggestions are. So I'm slightly familiar with the A and B. So a brief statement just saying what it is would be useful, and then KLMNO, what's it all about?
Okay, so you're familiar with A and B. So K is boat with or without. You know what? I'm just going to read them to you. How's that? Section 120-2, boat with or without an accompanying boat trailer may be stored in the rear yard of a property or in the portion of a driveway that is the furthest from the street. Boat coverings must be either custom fitted or shrink wrapped. No tarps or makeshift covers as permitted. That's K. Here's L. Prior to placement for collection, all waste containers and waste stored in plastic bags. Waste or debris may not be stored in plastic bags on exterior of property for more than 24 hours. For weekly pickup, must be neatly stored in areas away from the front yard, sidewalks, or other public rights of way affecting the visual and aesthetic character. Household litter left on the curb in bags for village pickup must be left in an intact sealed plastic bag not more than 24 hours prior to the scheduled date and time of pickup. Household litter left on the curb in a plastic or metal can or container must be fully within the can or container and cannot be left on the roadside more than 48 hours prior to the scheduled date and time of pickup. Cans and containers must be removed within 24 hours after time of pickup. Section 120-2M. Tents, canopies, carports, and shelters in front or side yard may be installed for a period not to exceed 15 consecutive days and 30 total days in a 90-day period. For the purpose of this chapter, a front yard is the area of property which is beyond a line drawn in the parallel to the road in front of the house, intersecting that part of the front side of the house and that farthest from the road and extending through the side yards to the side boundaries of the property. A corner property has two front yards. Tents, canopies, carports, and shelters in a rear yard must otherwise comply with the Poquat Village Code and the Uniform Code. Section 120N. Vehicles may not be parked in any of the area in any area of a property, including lawns, yards, village right-of-ways, or other areas that have not been designated and approved by village as a driveway. Oh, the following applies to all resident properties where work is being done and construction sites on properties in the village, whether a building permit is required, has been applied for or not. Construction material in the course of the work may be temporarily placed in a neat manner on the side or rear yard of the owner's property in a neat manner for up to 45 days or 7 days after work is completed, or the expiration of outstanding building permits, whichever is sooner. All construction sites in the village shall have suitable containers on site at all times to accommodate any and all construction-related debris which shall be stored on those containers. No outside storage of construction or project-related debris shall be permitted to accumulate, and all outside areas of the work site must remain free of debris, trash, and garbage, and must be cleared regularly to ensure compliance. The property owner is responsible for compliance. Bales of hay or other erosion control placed on or around property must be at all times maintained in a neat and orderly condition and removed no more than 30 days after the completion of the work materials requiring their use, except where otherwise directed by a code official. And there you have the whole Megillah, Roger.
Okay, thank you. So with A and B, what's changed there?
I thought you said you knew that. Now you got to make me read
Well,
that too.
I know what it says. I don't know what.
I'm
the
gonna read it to you. Let's do it that way. It'll be easy. All grounds and exterior of a property are to be kept clean and free and clear of litter, including garbage, junk, refuse, rubbish, and solid waste. Discarded objects and materials such as containers, furniture, unregistered, inoperable motor vehicles. Yard waste not intended for composting as defined in this code, such as tangible brush and broken limbs, shall be removed. Leaves and other debris shall not be blown or moved from private property onto village roads, rights of ways, and other public property. B, all grounds, lawns, trees, and shrubbery shall be maintained in safe and attractive condition, free of nuisance, hazards, debris, litter, and unsightly material, and in a manner that does not pose an obstruction or danger to the passage of pedestrians or vehicles traveling the roadways. For the purpose of this provision, all laws shall be trimmed to a height of no greater than 10 inches. Dead or diseased trees or any portion thereof which presents any hazard to life or property shall be removed. Broken tree limbs shall be removed. Now you got the whole thing.
I got it. I appreciate that, and I have no comments. I think it makes good sense.
Okay, so listen, I'm going to say this. That's the first and last time that I read an entire law. So next time, make a point, ask it to be sent to your house ahead of the meeting. Does that sound fair?
Well, you do have on the website a way of downloading documents, and it might make sense when you have these kind of documents to put them in that part of the website.
It might, but we don't have a law for that, and you're the only person who had this much interest in this. So just ask us, and we'll send it to you by mail. How's that?
Okay, thank you.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Roger. Okay. Motion to get a glass of water. Motion to, we do that later. Okay, motion to close the public hearing for local law of 2024, amending section 120. So moved.
There's a question on the motion.
There's a question on the motion?
You might have another comment.
Oh, any other questions on these local laws? No? You poor thing. You don't want to build that thing anymore, do you?
Too much talk about that.
Okay, all right. Motion to close.
Yeah, you got it in a second, and you just have to vote now.
Oh, no, well, but do we have to vote again?
Just to close this public.
Motion to close local law of 2024, amending section 120. So moved. All in favor?
Yeah.
Woohoo! Okay, second public hearing. Motion to open public hearing for local law of 2024, local law permitting village to pierce the tax cap limit of section 3C of the New York State Constitution. So moved. All in favor? Any questions for this public hearing? No? Whew. Okay, motion.
We trust you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to close the public hearing for local law of 2024, local law permitting village to pierce the tax cap. So moved? All in favor? Okay. Motion Mayor to call the public meeting to order, the business section at 7:48. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Announcements. Village Hall will be open Saturday, February 17th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. to facilitate permits for 2024. The town of Brookhaven is now processing mooring registrations online. Residents must obtain their POQUAT mooring application before they can obtain the Brookhaven permit. Instructions will be mailed to 2023 permit holders and are now also available online. Reports, public safety.
Good evening. January, cold and rainy, so it's been kind of slow. Only had 2 incident reports, documented firearm, suspicious person, 2 parking violation warnings, 4 special event requests, 3 courtesy house checks. We have 4 special patrol locations that we're watching and monitoring. We have 4 open code enforcement cases where we're working with the property owners to correct the property maintenance or building department related issues. And regarding the speed radar signs, those portable ones run about $3,000 to $8,000 depending on what model you choose and what options they have. And they do have solar ones. I'm not aware of
To purchase or rent?
To purchase, I'm not aware of any ones that you can rent that are posted on. You can rent the actual speed trailers, which they run about $20,000.
All right, thanks, Frank. Treasurer's report, Ron.
As I indicated in my budget actual comparison, we're continue to be in good shape, weather permitting. Although the bottom line showed a $19,000 shortfall against budget through this month, through January, that was mostly as a result of timing differences. As a matter of fact, just about entirely. So that will turn itself around. And as always, the big question is always snow. It looks like when I look at the 10-day forecast, the village is very lucky, as we all are. If there are any questions?
Anybody have any questions for our treasurer? No? Okay, thank you. Ron.
I'm
Court
signing
report?
out.
Okay, take care. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you. Good night.
Court report, Jacqueline?
There was no court in January.
Ah, easy. Peasy. Okay. Public comments for anyone who suffered through. Do we have any? Yes, Jacob? Yeah, you can have at it. Don't make me read a law, though.
I'll try.
Okay.
So, in terms of fundraising, I was just wondering if I could do a polar plunge like we did last year. Last year was a lot of fun. I'll get like donuts or something. Would that be okay?
Well, the PCA's already kind of got that in their schedule,
Okay.
but we could always use volunteers to join in the organizing of it if you'd like to do that. We can have somebody from the PCA. Deirdre Cronin's the president. I will tell her that you're interested in contributing and being an active participant. And why don't you join forces and join the PCA and do it, because they already have a date on the schedule for it. And I don't think we're going to get 2 polar plunges. Yeah. All right. But we'll definitely, we have your contact info, right? We have his phone number?
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'd like to provide all of you guys with basically just this information sheet on like project beneficiaries. They tell us to give this to you guys just as a formality.
This is awesome. I wish this is making me want to
So
put
when
Miles
you-
back in Scouts.
You asked about doing a polar plunge for fundraising. Is that for your project or is that like okay?
That's for the project. I've
Okay.
got some other fundraising ideas
Okay.
that I can definitely put into motion. But I was just thinking about that as another one because I didn't have that on the proposal.
Okay.
And I was wondering if you would be okay signing this beneficiary approval.
I
just-
would be super
just
thrilled
down here,
to sign it.
basically just-
Yep.
When you get it to us, like the other ideas that you had, being that we already have a polar plunge.
Okay.
If you have other ideas,
For
we'll,
fundraising specifically for what you're doing.
There are a couple of them that are on the proposal that the proposal that I gave to you guys. But none of them really require the town of Hopewell. So I'm going to be looking for other fundraising procedures that I can do,
Okay,
like, will be more community-based as opposed to admin-based.
that would be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you have stuff that you want to do for the scouts and you want, you know, we have a great community, which you know, you went to the last polar plunge, and we like to see our residents, you're going to be the future of this town. So jump on board with the Poquat Community Association, and we have, you know, as not as mayor, as a Poquat Community Association member, we have, you know, residents. The more stuff that people bring, we always promote it, right? It's a big thing. So yeah, definitely. I'll give you Deirdre's information. You can get in touch with her and get some, you know, let her know what you're thinking about. All right, that would be great. All right, any other public comments? Anyone else? Yes. Oh, now you're supposed to say your name and where you live in Poquat.
Well, that was my question.
Okay.
Am I allowed to speak if I'm not a resident of Poquat?
Yeah, why not? Of course.
Okay, good. My name is Drew Sora. I live at 2 Stern Drive.
Okay.
Port Jefferson.
Okay.
I'm right on like the border with Belterre, right down the country club. I wanted to come out to you. I don't know who I reached out to. I reached out to a woman named Miss.
Jessica?
Yes, how do you say her last name?
Batani.
Miss Batani. Okay. And now you guys don't have like name tags, but I think I gathered who everyone is. I think that's Trustee Flint. That's a very cool name, which is why I recognize it.
I'll take it. I don't know where this is going to go, but you're moving in the right direction.
Now I
Trustee
remember where.
Taylor, correct?
Yes.
I don't know how to say your name. I'm so sorry.
Masika.
Rasika. And Mayor, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to say
Oh, you don't even know my name at all?
No, I know.
At
your
least
name.
you got the right title.
Trust me.
Tina
No, how do
Chiaffi. Chiaffi, yeah.
Mayor Chiaffi. Hi, I'm sorry.
No, it's
I'm
okay.
Down the road, I just made my mom drag me to this, and she's been texting me. She's been like, "Geez, are you done yet?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
That's what we're all thinking too.
You picked the wrong one.
I think I did.
December, you would have been out of here.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I wanted to make sure everyone else was like done first. My name is Drew, so I'm 16 and I'm a junior at Fort Jeff High School, and I just wanted to clue you all in because I just met at 3 today with the mayor of Belterre, Mayor Sandak, and I met with him to discuss the Port Jefferson Youth Council. And I just wanted to let you all know, because none of you have ever seen my face before, that I just wanted to connect with our surrounding communities, even those who don't use our school district, who aren't in our town limits and everything, who I really want to connect with to speak about this and everything, because it's something that I'm really passionate about. And back in July, I promise the story won't take 8
That's
months
okay.
to tell.
That's fine. Take your
Back
time.
in July, the deputy mayor of Port Jeff, Rebecca Cassay, approached me after I spoke in my first board meeting there. It was one of those ones that was definitely longer. Jeez Louise. So she came up to me after, and she was really, really kind and everything, and she let me know that about 15 years ago, there was something called the Youth Council, and I did not know that. I was very shocked because I've always loved to be like involved in like my local community and everything. And she said, I would love if you were able to reach out and see if you're able to get any students who wanted to be involved. So I reached out to my now current vice president and asked her if she wanted to start getting people involved. So fast forward to today, we have over 30 members. And 2 weeks ago, we met with our superintendent, our deputy superintendent, and our principal, a principal of the high school, to discuss student negotiations, what students are wanting to see in the village and everything. We meet regularly in the library, the Port Jefferson Free Library, and we really welcome thoughts from everywhere. So I went to people in Mount Sinai, I went to people in Rocky Point, obviously today, just Belterre and everything, and we really want to hear a lot of student and community input from all of our communities, because this isn't just something that we want for Fort Jeff, we want it for everyone. And Trustee Stan Laux and Deputy Mayor Rebecca Cassay regularly attend our meetings to give us advice on things that we're looking for, and we proposed numerous ideas to the village already, some of which are already in planning with the Deputy Mayor for this summer. So we're really, really excited with where we're going to go and everything. And I talked last Wednesday with all of our members about this and said, I would love to really start getting connected with our surrounding communities. So they were like, resounding yes, go to this POQUAT meeting and everything. And I've been really excited to attend this and everything. And I'm really happy with how this all turned out. It's really a pleasure to meet all of you. I guarantee this isn't the last time you'll see my face, but it's really like a total pleasure to meet you all, seriously. But
Wow.
that's just what I wanted to do.
This is the best meeting ever, just because of that whole, so when do you meet?
What
When do you guys meet? Did you and you meet with the school board?
So the youth council meets every Wednesday at 5 at the Port Jefferson Free Library. And what we do is we discuss what our, first we usually go into school issues, what people want ideas with for the school, positive changes they've seen, any positive intakes, and then we go into what they think the school can improve upon, what they can improve upon regarding policies, certain things they see going on, certain things that they don't feel comfortable bringing up. They want someone who is comfortable speaking in a room to bring these ideas up. So from now on, we'll be meeting with the superintendent, the deputy superintendent, principal, and maybe the assistant principal every month. But that was our first meeting with them. But they've invited us our members on the LIPA power plant field trip, which we just planned for February 28th. They just invited us to the meeting of the Social Emotional Learning Committee for our school so that we can speak with them about the Same Here initiative, which is an initiative being proposed by New York State, which will help community building in their high schools and everything between staff and students. And we also, this was also just today, very big day, I guess. We just went to the joint faculty meeting between the high school and the middle school to speak on who we are, what we do and everything, and how teachers can begin getting students involved who they see as civilly active. So if you were a social studies teacher and you know someone who seems very involved in government or local politics or something, this would be something to say, hey, I know about this, I know who runs it, please go to them, and this would be really something good for you. We just wanted to pose that to them.
So I have a question. Just in light of what you're saying, which all sounds really good, are you going to the local schools, right? I think it's great that you're here, and I'm happy to meet you. But I'm thinking, what if you and some other students started attending the other high schools and junior high schools in the area and getting students involved in your council?
So that's what
people your age that are
exactly.
same topics and have the same concerns.
So what we've actually been doing is, in my role back in the beginning of this year, I was selected by the superintendent to be our student representative to the Civic Association. So what I've been doing is I've been going to these civic associations, speaking to them, because a lot of them are parents who have children, and a lot of the things discussed at these meetings have a lot of school-related topics.
Okay.
So we've discussed with them. But yeah, we're definitely working to get into this other school districts, and that's what I've been proposing with some other teachers who I know from these districts who might want to be advisors to something like this and want to look over something like this.
Yeah.
A lot of them are social studies teachers. The history teachers like this civic engagement stuff.
I'm going to come to one of your meetings. Can I come?
Oh, I would love for you to come.
Yeah.
We have open meetings with everyone. We just like to let.
Yeah, I want to see what you guys are doing. I'm just really curious. That's awesome.
No, I'm really grateful for that. And that's part of the reason I come to these things, is to spread awareness. And I try and go.
Now, how would you integrate? I know that this is Port Jefferson to that school district. How do you have a plan? Because my son he's 12. He's in 7th grade, right? He's right behind you. How would you integrate with other school districts?
So we've already implemented a plan that we've spoken to our leadership about our school, which is not having one huge Suffolk County Youth Council where there are 1,000 kids coming every time, but more specifically opening chapters in these other places. So proposing this idea to, let's say, my next person who I'll be meeting with is the Jericho High School superintendent, and I know that sounds far away, but we have some connections with them, which is why I'm going there first. And once we go there, we're hoping to gain some merit by opening up our first chapter there and saying,
that's great.
This is something we really believe in. And if you find someone who will want to lead this, and there are a lot of students who do want to be civically engaged, who would want to lead something like this, I would say please let them know about this idea, find an advisor, and just run wild. And we'll, of course, keep in contact with them and have the whole email chain set up and everything. And that's our whole plan. But it's something that we really do look at. And, of course, getting into the Three Village School District is huge for us. So that's just where we are.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great.
That's wonderful.
I would love to speak to you.
Yeah.
You seem like very like engaged and everything. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm like
Ha,
away right now.
looks like you're building a life jacket stand in Folkwat.
You have to fundraise. We actually, speaking of that, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You
No,
guys,
keep
every time
going.
you say
That's
spring
fine.
group,
No, it's fine.
We're actually starting our initiative with the Conservancy of Port Jeff because they're the fundraising arm of the village. So not only will we be volunteering with them and working with them to find long-term internship and job opportunities for students, we'll be working with them also to, in exchange for us going to all their events, volunteering and everything, they'll help us to figure out events on how we can fundraise, on how we can have
That's great.
these initiatives. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Wednesdays at 5?
Wednesdays at 5, yeah, and I
can't guarantee next Wednesday, but I'm gonna pop in sometime.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, I always get a little, like, stage fright whenever it's someone new. Like, I remember when I went to my first Port Jeff meeting, I was, like, shaking. I was shaking up there, and it was literally just a town of, there were, like, 20 other people in the room, and I felt like I was in front of a million. I was like, oh my goodness, it's the mayor.
It doesn't show. You do very well. Yeah, you're very great
Trust me, it doesn't
speaker.
get easier. This whole meeting, I've been, like, bouncing my leg up and down. I'm like, oh my God.
Well, you did a great job and impressed the whole board, so kudos to you. Very good. Thank you for coming. All right, onward to our resolution. Any other public comments? Anybody else? No one's gonna be able to follow that. All right.
Yeah, we get like one or two more of these guys and we can just like let them
Yeah, we're gonna put these two up here. We can sit in the audience.
Yeah, we'll just watch, just supervise,
That's what
supervisory
that's the
role.
future. All right, let's go. Resolution 02-2024-1, resolution adopting February 5th, 2024 agenda as printed. So moved. All in favor?
Resolution 02-2024-02, resolution accepting the monthly reports from February 5th, 2024. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution number 02-2024-03, resolution adopting the minutes from the January 8th, 2024 work session of the Board of Trustees meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 02-2024-04, resolution adopting the minutes from the January 8th, 2024 business session and Board of Trustees meeting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 02-2024-5, resolution adopting lead agency status for purposes of SECRA, State Environmental Quality Review Act, with regard to Village Code amending section 120-2 of chapter 120, property maintenance of Folkwat Village Code, and determining that the adoption of the local code is an unlisted action for purposes of SECRA, that the adoption of the local law will not have a negative impact on the environment, and adopting a negative declaration. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 02-2024-6, resolution to adopt local law amending section 120-2A and B and creating sections 120-2 K, L, M, N, and O of the Folkwat Village Code property maintenance. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 02-2024-07, resolution scheduling the annual village general election for June 18th, 2024, with polling to be at the Folkwat Village Hall, 45 Birchwood Avenue, from 12 noon until 9 p.m. Election with the following offices to be filled. Mayor, term 2 years, July 1st, 2024 through July 6th, 2026. trustee term of 2 years, July 1st, 2024 through July 6th, 2026. Trustee term of 2 years, July 1st, 2024 through July 6th, 2026. And trustee term of 1 year, July 1st, 2024 through July 7th, 2025. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution number 02-2024-08, resolution to accept resident friend Sayer's proposal to build a, quote, middle-free library, unquote, at Trustees Park as part of Earth Day 2024 celebration event. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 02-2024-09, resolution to accept cyber insurance rate change estimate from $1,473 to $1,692 for final calculated amount not to exceed $1,750, effective March 17th, 2024. So moved.
All in favor?
Resolution 02-2024-10, resolution to appoint Chris Soto as zoning board of appeals alternate to complete the 1-year term of Raymond Brown. So moved.
All in favor? Resolution 02-2024-11, resolution adopting lead agency status for purpose of SECRA State Environmental Quality Review Act with regard to adopting local law of 2024 allowing the village to exceed the tax cap limit of Section 3C of the New York State Constitution and determining that the adoption of the local law is an unlisted action for purposes of SECRA, that the adoption of the local law will not have a negative impact on the environment, and adopting a negative declaration. So moved. All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 02-2024-12, resolution to adopt local law 2024 allowing the village to exceed the tax cap limit of Section 3C of the New York State Constitution. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 02-2024-13, resolution rescinding the building clerk monthly rate of $475 and approving the hourly rate of $22 per hour effective February 1st, 2024. So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 02-2024-14, resolution approving
The estimate from Parkline. Parkline?
Parkline for emergency drain cleaning at New Street in the amount of
So how do I do that? How do we do that, Joe, in the amount indicated on the quote? Because it's got a variable to it.
Yeah, so the amount is $3,400 labor per drain, plus $1,500 per load removed.
Per day.
For
I'm sorry,
$3,400 labor
$3,400
per day,
Thank you.
and $1,500 per load.
Right, and I would just say that this should be pursuant to, and I'll do a simple contract with them and accept, that will be part of their proposal, confirm their proposal.
Why do we have to do that? I mean, that's
Because
fine
otherwise
if you
have no
want to.
agreement.
Isn't there approving their estimate of the agreement or no?
Well, the estimate's not a contract. Usually you have a simple contract that's attached to the.
Okay.
When you hire these people, a contractor, you should have a simple contract that provides for requirements like insurance, indemnification, things like this.
Okay. All right. Let me do it all over. Resolution 02-2024-14, resolution approving estimate from Parkline for emergency drain cleaning of New Street in the amount of $3,400 labor per day and $1,500 per load removal. 1,600.
Per load.
Wait, is it 3,000?
$460.
460. 450. There's
3450.
3450 labor and 1,600 per load removal. So moved. All in favor?
Resolution 2024-15, resolution to schedule the Village of Folk Park Board of Trustees work session meeting beginning at 6 p.m. on March 14th, 2024, with the business meeting to follow immediately. So moved.
All in favor? Is it me? Oh, Resolution 02-2024-16, resolution to schedule the Village of Hopewell Board of Trustees work session meeting. Is that the same thing? It's the same thing, right? Okay, so skip that. Table that one. We'll just make,
To do the meeting, and the work session. One was for the business meeting. Am I thinking about?
no, it's the same thing. We just duplicated it. So just, we're gonna get rid of that. We're just didn't make the next one
Oh,
16.
you're right, sorry.
Right now we are because we're done with laws for right now. It's important to have Frank here when we're doing the laws.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. And Frank will be happy to get rid of us. Okay, Jess, you're up.
Alright.
Speed reading. Try to beat my timing.
Okay, ready? Ace Hardware for $358.45. Duplicator Pro for $89. Intuit for $850. JRP Ford of Port Jefferson for $200.85. And Staples for $161.42. As well as USPS for a total of $339.84. And that totals $1,999.50. Next up, we have the Home Depot credit card for a total of $107.17. After that, we have Canon Financial Services for $129, PSEG for $325.81, PSEG for $39.51, Smart Time for $653.36, Time Speaking Record for $141.37, Verizon Wireless for $101.05 for a total of $1,390.10. After that, we have Nelson & Coke for $1,500, Joe Pro Pop for a total of $2,406.25, PSEG in the amount of $570.74, PSEG again for $14.14, Small Business Management Solutions for $728.48, Time Speaking Records for $137.93, Transforming Solutions Corporation for $10,375 for a total of $15,732.54. Last up is Applicators for $112.50, Brightco Electric for $330, Hurricane Tree Experts for $1,300, Newsday for $240, House Cleaning Service for $400, Wex Bank for $143.88, and Winter Brothers Hauling of Long Island for $10,788 for a total of $13,314.38.
Is that it? Oh my goodness. Okay. Resolution 02-2024-16. Resolution approving all checks per the voucher report. So moved. All in favor? All right, ready for this one? Motion to adjourn at 8:17 p.m. So moved. All in favor? Woo! Meeting adjourned, yay!